Welcome to Wonders and Miracles podcast, where we celebrate miraculous moments in everyday lives. I'm Liza Lawrence. I'm glad to have you join me as we celebrate wonders and miracles together. All right. Well, I am here with Danielle Dinkelman today. She is a national board certified health and wellness coach, and she's just written a book called If Diets Don't Work, What Does? A Doable, Enjoyable Guide to Living the Life You Want. And I just finished this book. It was fantastic. I loved it, but I'm a health nerd. And so I love these kinds of things. But she's going to share with us her journey, her health journey, how she got involved with this, and some of the miracles that she has seen along the way. So Danielle, thanks for being here, and start us out on your health journey and why the interest in this.
Yeah, thanks, Liza. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to chat with you about the book and about my story and my journey. I would say that my journey is not as dramatic as most people, when you talk about someone that's really been through it with health and wellness. Like, I don't have any huge dramatic health problems, but they were just lots of little things that you almost don't even notice until you start making changes. And you kind of said, and we've connected before, that both you and I are we both came to this health and wellness passion at some point in our lives. And you don't realize how much you need it until you start doing it and you start experiencing the benefits. So, I really lived what I would call like the standard American lifestyle, the standard American diet, fast food, pizza, hamburgers, lots of candy. Still a chocolate lover and all of those things. And it was just normal, right? And you just live your life. Well, it was maybe when I started having kids, and things change once you're responsible for someone else's well-being. And I noticed when my two oldest kids were little, we would just burn through Costco-sized boxes of pretzels and goldfish and all these things. And I found myself really frustrated and confused of why are they eating food and never acting like they're full, never satisfied. So that was a big piece of the puzzle for me, that I feel like the Lord put different triggers in my path to kind of get my attention and say, Danielle, you need to look into this. And so that was the path that took me down the nutrition rabbit hole, which was such a blessing in the long run. I was on your show, it's
a year ago. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a while. But I shared my story about supporting my husband through his cancer journey. And if I hadn't had that one little trigger that got my attention with my kids, I wouldn't have eventually come around to whole foods and then to plant-based foods and then to have the information I needed to help my husband. So it's this wonderful web that I am amazed that God is aware of what we need when we need it. And, similarly with other things in health and wellness, you read my book and you mentioned that, nutrition was kind of already something you'd been focusing on, but the other aspects in the book, we talk about sleep, exercise, stress management, and mindsets, which are often overlooked. Diet culture has done a really good job of making us very tunnel vision focused on food and diet and nutrition. So for exercise, again, growing up, I was not active. Like, I was a music nerd, so I wasn't playing sports. But once I started having babies, our second born was a stillborn baby girl, and she was full term. And I share this story a little bit in my book, but I share it because that was honestly the impetus for me to start moving my body more, because I had these really big, strong, awful, dark emotions. I was angry and I was depressed, and there were so many things emotionally that I did not know what to do with. And exercise turned into an outlet, and it turned into my grief therapy. So for me, it was running and it was yoga. And I think the Lord just puts things in our journey that takes care of us and puts us on this path for our spiritual salvation. But I do really believe that God cares about our temporal, our physical salvation too. And to me, that is health and wellness.
Well, I think they go hand in hand. Your spiritual life depends on how functional your body is in a lot of ways. And so I think God does care about both.
Yes. Yeah. And, I'm a very religious person. I have been my whole life. And, for me, it's both and they have to fit together. And unfortunately, I think often the physical health seems so hard and so overwhelming for so many people. And it is hard, especially in the culture we are in, that really, if you want to live a healthy, balanced life, you are going to choose to go upstream to the mainstream. It's not popular. It's not. It's not, I don't want to say it's not easy, but it's not convenient. It takes effort. You have to get in the boat and start rowing. So what I see a lot is people that get really hyper focused on their spirituality, and they just kind of push the physical wellness off to the side and say, and almost like in an effort of overcompensating. I guess that's part of why I wrote the book, is because I don't think it should be so hard. And it's not, it doesn't have to be so hard. And so the book is really a way for people to self-coach and for them to really whittle it down to some simple principles and then choosing their own next best steps. It's not a one size fits all. I don't claim to have the answer for everyone. I claim to have a framework that people can find their own answer. And it's really, really exciting. I'm super excited for more people to have this and hopefully to have that experience that like my beta readers have had and my launch team people have had, of really kind of opening their eyes of, oh, no, it's just this next step. It's just one step.
Yeah. And I loved that because you do outline it so well as finding your individual needs and a plan for you, because we aren't one size fits all. Yes, we're all in a human body. That's true. But our bodies are designed very differently. And what's going to be effective for one person might not work for another. And I think, you talk a lot about diet culture, and that's one of the downsides is do this and everyone will feel the same. And it doesn't work that way. And same thing with how we feel as spirit, how God talks to us is very individual. And that's part of that too.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So yeah, I love what you said there of like, yes, we're all in human bodies. And therefore there's definitely some principles that I teach in the book that are, you can take those to the bank. They're common sense in some ways. And yes, our bodies are different, but I'm going to add to that, that more than that, our individual lives, our circumstances, our histories, our readiness and willingness and ability in the moment to make certain changes, that's the big piece that's different at any given time for any given person. So the book is very much written from a behavior change standpoint and understanding human motivation and helping you tap into your own.
Yeah, I love that. How did you know, like, this is my path? This is what I need to do?
It was pretty surprising. And I can't remember if I shared this last time, but it's been a year. So we'll tell the story again, even if I've said it before. The point where I started really exploring more exercise, nutrition, all of that was between like 2010, 2015. And then I would say about 2 years later, I really had dove into whole food plant-based nutrition. And I started getting some certifications done and I took a cooking class. I was on vacation with my family in Bear Lake and I was going for a run and I got to the top of this mountain and was just feeling very reflective and very grateful. We were in the middle of trying to help my husband through his cancer journey, and we were using nutrition and juicing and herbs and all of these things. And I was just feeling very grateful that I had been led to what we needed at that time. So I was just in this kind of reflective, pondering state. And then this voice comes into my head that was not my own. It said, I didn't give all of this to you for you to keep it to yourself. You're supposed to help other people. And I literally like kind of looked over my shoulder to see you talking to me. And that was my calling. That was the moment of, this isn't just for fun. This isn't just for you. This isn't just for your family. This is for more people. And of course, at that moment, I didn't know exactly what that meant. It took about another month or so for me to realize, okay, health and wellness coaching, that's the direction. And again, the Lord just put the breadcrumbs one after another of what I needed. And whenever I could see that there was a gap of, well, I know what to teach people, but I may not know how to help them actually do what they know. That's a whole other thing. That's where he just kept putting just the right certifications, the right coaching school, all of these things in my path. Fast forward, I've been running my private health and wellness coaching practice for the last 3 or 4 years now. And it's been amazing. I have learned so much from doing the things that I got certified to do and working with people and helping them make changes and seeing them be successful. so, so rewarding to see that happen. And then just over from our recording today, over the last year, I've really started feeling kind of these nudges to package what I know and package how I guide people in a book form, because I have a big heart. Like, I want to just heal the world with lifestyle changes and nutrition and all of these things, but I'm only one person. So I got really interested and excited about this idea of, okay, maybe if I package this in a way that people could self-coach, if they could just have it in a book form, maybe we can make more of a difference there.
I love that, because I think when you feel passionate about a message and you're calling and you know God wants you to do something, because I felt that same thing. Like, how do you reach more people? How do you inspire more people to live to their potential? And health is a huge part of that, for sure. Let's talk about more details of the book and the 5 areas that you really see as key when you're looking at health and well-being.
Most people, when they heard that I was writing a book, they thought I was going to write a book about whole food, plant-based nutrition. So I'm actually really excited for this book to come out to kind of like quiet that dialogue, because yes, I'm passionate about plant-based nutrition, and I'm passionate about a holistic, well-rounded approach to healthy living. There's no silver bullet. You can have an absolute perfect diet and still have issues, because we are a whole being that is impacted by multiple things. So yeah, we cover in the book 5 aspects of healthy living. So number 1, we talk about sleep. And I started with sleep on purpose because this is foundational and most of us overlook it.
And it's quite simple, really. Like, okay, I can do this.
Yes, which is another reason why I started with that one, because I'm hoping that the type of person that picks up my book is the person that's feeling burned out by the diet world, that roller coaster. So I'm hoping that this will be just like a soft place to land and say, oh, sleep, I can start with that. Because then we move on to nutrition. And some people that I've worked with in my coaching, they don't want to touch food with a 10-foot pole, because there's so much like mental, emotional trauma that comes with going on that dieting roller coaster. So sleep, nutrition, and then next we talk about movement or exercise. Again, we talk about this very gently because I think that can also be a charged topic for a lot of people. So even just movement, let's just get up and move more. And then we go to stress management, which is huge. And then mindset, which is also foundational. So this really is a synergy. I had a hard time choosing which one to talk about first. I tried to write the book in a way that it's a very easy read. It's very digestible. And I'm hoping that you can just kind of sit down and soak in these principles and then step back and say, and ask yourself, what's the first step for me? Because it will be different for you than what it is for the next person.
I loved how you organized the book, but I'm a very organized mind. I teach college and I'm like, okay, here's my syllabus. Here's how it's going to look. I like the big picture, but then you go into the details, and I love how you organized it like that. And you had journal prompts and you had things that people could reflect on. I loved it, how you really laid that out. So well done on that. Thank you for doing it like that.
Yeah. The purpose, again, is really, I'm not there to tell you what to do. I'm really trying to write this book from a standpoint of a coach, and a coach's job is to pull out of you what you need, what you want, what you're ready for. So this book is calling you to step up and to step into your own authority, because we give our authority away. We give it away to our doctor. We give it away to our best friend that's on the next fad diet. We give it away all the time. And we think that all we need is for somebody to tell us what to do, and for that somebody to know more about something than you do. But in coaching, we really focus on this truth that the client is their own expert. They are the expert. We're not the expert.
Yeah. And I love that, because unless we take that ownership and responsibility for ourselves, we don't make the changes we need. Nope. And it's huge in the mindset to realize that and be responsible for ourselves.
Definitely.
Have you seen any miracles along the way, or even in writing this book or with people you've coached? What are some of the things that you've noticed and learned along this way?
Oh man. So many things. Yeah. When God calls you to do something, you just keep watching for his hand. And the whole process has been guided. So as far as like seeing miracles for my clients, first of all, I look at it as a wonderful little miracle every time I connect with someone that I am meant to work with. That just continually testifies to me that I'm doing God's work, that I am on the Lord's errand that he designed for me. So that's always humbling and a blessing. And I love connecting with the people because I feel like Heavenly Father is like a matchmaker of, okay, Danielle has this certain skill set and she has a certain perspective, and so has had these certain struggles. And I'm going to connect them and they're going to be able to make progress. So yeah, the miracles I see with then the work that I do with my clients is, it's subtle, but it's powerful, right? I think most people, when they hire a coach and when they hire me, they are expecting to be able to walk away with a before and after picture. And I'm sorry, not sorry, that's not what I do. I'm way more interested in the internal before and after. I'm way more interested and committed to the personal development that happens inside each of my clients. And so, yes, we heal insomnia. Yes, we overcome chronic stress. Yes, we decrease anxiety and depression. Yes, inflammation and pain subsides. We overcome emotional eating. There's clients will lose weight. Clients will be able to wean off or get off of certain medications. There's lots of miracles that happen. But to me, the one I'm most interested in and most excited about is the ones that they will carry with them into the next thing that they work on. So we work on things like self-compassion. We work on things like letting go of perfectionism. Okay, some of the mindset stuff in that last chapter, right? Building their confidence in their ability to know what their next step is, to trust themselves, to trust their bodies, to trust these healthy lifestyle choices that they're working on making, and staying diligent in those things, even if they're not getting the miracle in the moment that they want it to happen.
Mm-hmm. I love your purpose. That's one of my favorite things. I love watching people grow in their own self-worth and in their own belief in who they are as a child of God, as a being with power. And I think that's really, really valuable. I think it would be very satisfying. Absolutely.
It really is.
This is a huge project to write a book, honestly. I've compiled a book, but never written one. And it's huge. So what miracles did you see as you were on that journey of writing a book and trying to reach more people?
Yeah. Well, again, I think that when the Lord calls you to do something, it's an act of faith to say that that is what happened, right? And then to lean on that. He does have a way of making it possible. He clears the way. So some of the biggest miracles of writing the book were the day that I decided that, and I posted on social media that, hey, I'm doing this. I'm going to write this book. That same week, I was on Facebook and one of my other friends was sharing a book that she had read to teach her how to write a book and self-publish a book. It was like this sign from the universe, right? Of, here you go, Danielle. This is one of the things that you needed. And it was because undertaking self-publishing, undertaking writing, I'm not a writer, okay? I'm a talker. So as you read the book, you'll hear my voice very much.
I loved that. And it was written very well, but you can hear your cute voice throughout the whole thing. I loved it.
Yeah. And we will be recording an audiobook, and that'll be coming out in the summer. So for people that don't love to read, but they'd rather listen, we will have that soon as well. But, so resources just showed up and people showed up. I had mentioned to my business coach that I wanted to go ahead and undertake this project. And she said, oh, well, guess what? I've been writing a book too. And here's my book coach. Let me introduce you to her. And so I ended up working with her. And I tell you, after the session, we had like a 6-hour session where we went and we wireframed the entire book together. I walked away feeling like this would have been a very different book if I had not done this, if I had not worked with this person. It's just millions of miracles all put together to see how all of those dots were connected. And then some of the biggest miracles for me were just tender mercies. That I have 4 children. I am running a business. I'm supporting a husband in his career. There's all these things going around in my life. And where do you find the time and the energy to write a book? But I just made a commitment. I said, okay, Lord, I can give you 2 hours every single morning, Monday through Friday. So I did. I woke up and I did the work and I just showed up. And the tender mercies were that I was wide awake when I needed to be, and that I got done what I needed to do in the time that I had, and that I enjoyed it. In the book, I talk a lot about, let's make this enjoyable. Let's not make this a chore. When we make something a chore, we're really just shooting ourselves in the foot. Human behavior, human motivation runs on enjoyment and pleasure. And I do feel like Heavenly Father helped me just enjoy the process. It was fun to write. It was gratifying and it was exciting. There were many times that I would write, I would be sitting there typing, and it was kind of like those flow moments where you feel like the Spirit just takes over and the Spirit is speaking for you. And ideas would pop into my head that I'd never considered, even in all of the wireframing and the outlining up to that point. But that there was this moment of inspiration of, what about that story? What about that experience? Never would have planned on including that. But in the moment, it flowed, it was correct. And when those moments happen, I always think, okay, there's somebody out there that needs to hear that story for some reason. And I'm so grateful that the Lord was like, I felt like he was helping me all along the way.
Yeah, I love hearing that. That is so exciting because I believe in the flow. I've been in that state, usually when I'm teaching. And it's so exciting, isn't it, to feel like you're being that instrument for what other people need to hear.
Exactly. And that's what I wanted from the very beginning, was don't let me over effort this and make this mine. Let me keep it yours, and let me just say what you have equipped me and prepared me to say. So yeah,
I think that's exciting. What do you see is the biggest problem with diet culture, and why you even wrote this book in the first place?
So this book really calls out what I call diet culture, because that is the antithesis in my mind of a healthy lifestyle. When I went through my health and wellness coaching training, I did 2 certifications, a basic and a master's level. And then I went and took months to study for the national board exam. All of the content that goes into that training is focused on behavior change principles and habit change and personal motivation, these things that we've mentioned already. And the more I studied, the more I learned about what we know about human behavior and habit change, the more I saw why dieting really is so damaging. Because, most of us think, yeah, diets aren't good because they're not sustainable, right? By definition, it's something that you do for a short amount of time and then you go back to normal. That's a problem, right? We need to create a new normal is really what we need. But the problem is that dieting, first of all, what it's giving you to do is not sustainable. Eating 500 calories a day and shooting up with a human hormone, not okay, right? Like common sense tells us this shouldn't be required to live a healthy, happy life. And yet it's all we see, it's all we hear about. And there's so many different permutations of it, right? So what it's doing is totally off base. How it's doing it is where I really take issue. And this is where people get interested in this new way of thinking about things. And this is like what I do in my coaching, right? Of helping people kind of deprogram the how to change that dieting teaches you. Dieting teaches you to do it all at once. It teaches you to, hey, make a big heroic statement and tell everybody so that you're accountable. It's all this hype. It's go big or go home. Well, guess what? Like, you're setting yourself up for burnout, right? And those things work fine for something that you plan on doing for 6 weeks or even 3 months. Those things of go big or go home do not work when you're trying to create long-lasting habit change. When you want to create a new normal, you cannot sprint. It does not work. I have seen it again and again over the last 3 or 4 years that I've been coaching. So the other big issue, and I think a lot of people recognize this about dieting, is the why. Why are we going on the diet? It's because we hate our body. That's the long and short of it. We hate ourselves. And that is so sad. That's not what God wants for us. God gave us our bodies. God has given us our talents, our personality, all of our gifts. And what are we doing with it? We're putting ourselves on this dieting hamster wheel that really, I think we make the adversary really happy. I think we make Satan really happy when we choose to continue to torture ourselves over there. So I'm inviting you in this book to say, let's find a different reason. Let's find a higher reason. Let's talk about loving ourselves. Let's talk about loving God. Let's talk about loving our bodies. Let's talk about loving the food that God has put on this planet for us to nourish ourselves with. If we can get into a higher vibration there and a higher purpose, then that's something that can carry us through for a new normal. So it's the how, it's the what, and it's the why of dieting that is just, it's all wrong. And we have to just cut the cord. We have to see it for what it is and let it go and know what are we replacing it with? And that's really the question that this book answers. Literally, if not dieting, what do I do? Because you look out in the mainstream media and it looks like everybody is on a diet. And if you're not on a diet, then you're just really unhealthy couch potato. It's this black and white, it's this pendulum swing that diet culture creates, that we're either white knuckling our way to that before and after picture, or we've completely given up and given in and we're just enjoying our Oreos over on the couch. We've got to find just that middle of the road. It's that slow and steady wins the race. The book is full of all of these things that this is how we're going to reprogram. This is how we're going to rethink about ourselves and about this health journey.
Which is, I think, brilliant, because you're right. The mind is so powerful. And if we can't approach it with love, I love that, learning to love and appreciate our bodies and doing things that help it rather than because we hate it and we're mad at it and we're frustrated with it. And knowing that we're going for lifestyle change. And I think that was one of my biggest epiphanies when I came to nutrition for my child. It was like, we have to change lifestyle. His issues won't go away as a quick fix. It is a long-term thing. And approaching it that way made it more doable. And then we don't feel like a failure every time we fall off that diet, right? And go back to how we felt before.
Yes, exactly. And we talk about that a lot in the book too, of how do you come back when you have a setback? How do you recover? Can we think about this in a different way rather than, oh, I failed.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm broken. Oh, I am a failure. We turn this in, we own it. It becomes a part of us. We need to create new patterns. And so I teach you in the book how to be objective about it and how to say, that didn't work. Why didn't that work? What do I need to work smarter, not harder, for this to work? And that changes the entire story. And I've seen it over and over with my clients. So I'm excited to see this happen now for readers.
So who are the people that would benefit from this message? Other than everyone, right?
Other than everyone, yes. Again, I think this is one of the miracles about this project, was that I wrote it with a very specific person in mind. And I was able to write it in a way that anyone, male or female, teenager or 75-year-old, someone that's grown up in America or outside, if you've kind of lived in this modern Western culture in any number of countries, this book will resonate. So yes, it's for everyone. And more specifically, it's really perfect. The people that need this book the most are the people that have been on the dieting roller coaster their whole lives, and they really just don't know how to get off. And I'm going to add to that a caveat that it has to be a person that wants to get off.
Yes.
They want to believe that there's another option. That I meet a lot of people that they're not there yet. They're still thinking, no, somebody's got the answer for me. I'm just going to keep trying this and then that and then that. And that's okay. They're on their own path. But for those that are really exhausted and ready for something new, this is perfect for people that feel really beaten down. In the book, we talk about self-efficacy. This is a behavior science word that we use to describe how confident and able a person feels to make changes in their lives. And I'll tell you, I work with people that have very little to no self-efficacy. And it's those people that need a book like this or need a coach like me to build them back up and say, let's design a plan for you that starts with small wins. Let's just get this machine rolling again. Let's just build this confidence up. So it's really for those people that are ready to get off the diet culture roller coaster and they're not really sure how to do it on their own.
Yeah. For me, I know when I started changing my diet, I needed a hand to hold. And I bought a program. I bought a book that helped me walk through and gave me lots of recipes and things, which is what I needed. But so many people, I think, do need that when our self-efficacy is so low. We need someone to coach us, as you do, which is wonderful. So tell us more about where can we find your book, and tell us a little bit more about your coaching program too, if people are interested in working with you as a coach.
Absolutely. So you can go to ifdietsdon'tworkwhatdoes.com. That's the website for the book. You can click the link there and it'll take you over to Amazon, or you can just hop on Amazon and search my name or the book. It'll be there. I'm so excited, like I said, to just get this in more people's hands. Give yourself a shot. If you have just tried and failed, this is a perfect next step. So
I can think of many people that I'm like, oh, I'd love to give it to them and to them and to them. And I love that invitation in your book where you say, if you know someone who needs this, share it, because that is valuable.
Yeah. And anytime we're trying to start to make a change and go upstream to the mainstream, it helps to have other people with us.
Yes.
Right. So to have a close friend or a family member or two or three or a dozen that are all kind of starting to make the same mindset shifts and starting to see things and talk about things and feel about things a different way, oh man, that will help you and it will help them. And that's really that's my mission, is to really get to this place where we all see diet culture for what it is. And we see right past it and we say, no, thank you. And we create a new path that can sweep people up just like the mainstream does. I want there to be a healthy place for people to go. So yes, share this with people if you can think of others that are kind of on a similar journey. As far as the coaching that I do, I work with people one-on-one, and I also work with people in a group coaching program. The group is so powerful. The group is for women only. I do work with men, but only in my one-on-one coaching currently. So Vibrant Living is the name of the group program. You can reach out to me. Just go to my website, danielledinkelman.com. The best way is to go ahead and just schedule a call with me. You can do a free consult and we can chat about which option would be best, because some people are perfect for the group and other people need to do a little bit of one-on-one first to kind of get on their own 2 feet a little stronger. And then the group is really supportive. So it just depends on where you're at and what you need. You can also find me on Instagram, dd.healthcoach. You can send me a message there, or I do have a Facebook group for anyone that just wants to hang out with me and kind of get more of an idea of what my coaching philosophy and my healthy lifestyle philosophy is like. And you can find that. It's Healthy Living with Danielle Dinkelman. I also have a YouTube channel under the same name, and we do videos every single week.
I love your videos. I think that's exciting. I'm really proud of you for writing a book. I know what that takes. I've watched my husband write a book. I've put a book together. It's not easy. And how beautiful to hear that you felt guided through the whole thing. You had people come in. I love when God just offers everything and orchestrates it all and it falls into place. Not that it's not easy. You still have to show up and do the work.
Oh yeah. And there's moments where you're kind of left in the dark and you feel like you're on hold and you're waiting for the thing to show up and you just have to keep moving forward. So yeah, it's a roller coaster of its own.
Yeah. Well, that's exciting. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts with us.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Liza. It's so good to be here.
Thank you so much for listening to this miracle story